Hey guys, just thought I will talk about this article that came out yesterday. Because quite a lot of people, when they see this kind of articles, they will go a little batshit crazy. In fact, I had some of my clients telling me, or rather, they are the ones sending me such article, and then, hey, wow, market so hot, why so the cooling measures not working? So these are precisely the kind of things that I wouldn't want to see because obviously the government is monitoring the market. They wouldn't want to see this kind of bullish sentiment, right? After all, they've been trying very hard to tame the market so that everyone feel that it can take a little bit of load off the heat, especially after continuing didn't really do that well. Then they thought, okay, maybe it's time for us to take a breather and not apply so much pressure on the market already. And who knows, suddenly reserve residences suddenly came in and bomb 500 plus sold, and thereby creating a hell lot of pressure on the market and also the consumers as a whole. So let's see some of these what some of this article actually says, and let's just look at this from a more objective point of view lah. Because before people talk about the market go up, wow, should we be worried here and there, let's just face it. Every month when we see this kind of article, the Straits Times will always tell us, this month is a lot of units, this month sell not so much units. But all these are facts. But sentiment is how you see it. But if you know how to see it from an objective point of view, you realize there's actually not too much meaning behind it. It's just simple. The more launches you have, the more project launches you have in a particular month, the nicer the headlines will look. So if you have lesser project launch, your headline naturally is gonna look not so nice, which is fine because it doesn't represent it just represent as a whole in general, but it doesn't go down to the specifics of each projects. So let's see, before we talk about that, May we had a 1 year high of 1,000 plus units sold, because the past few months we didn't have too many selling due to some lack of launches, or not so many launches being launched at the same time, and maybe some of them, they are not so big units. We do have launches almost every few months, every 1 month or 2 months, but they are not so big. This one we had, I think, 800 plus for continuum and 700 plus for reserve, which is naturally almost about 1,500 plus, almost 1,600. Okay, I think maybe about 1,500 plus only lah, being launched. So this means that in spite of the cooling measure, this is the particular paragraph actually I wouldn't want to see, because come on guys, let's not try to trigger any more cooling measures already. This kind of headlines is the kind that the government see, okay lor, you all pay like that lor, we whack again. So come on lah, everyone. I think the majority or large majority of us as homeowners, we know that the market is tame already. We don't want the cooling measures to keep coming in and in, because it will affect the market sentiment, because after all we are stakeholders ma. But on the other hand, there will be people that small minority compared to the majority of us homeowners, they are looking to enter the market. So hey, wow, cooling measure is coming in, now is my chance. But if you look at the past few cooling measures, we had a lot of cooling measures. Almost every other month we had something coming in to smash us. We had the Valentine's Day gift, and there, which we already talked about in another video, so you go and take a look. And then the one last month that just came in on the ABSD rise 30% to 60% for foreigners, and also the trust fund, all these kind of things. All these are coming in to smash the market sentiment, but we know that mostly it's not so hard hitting on the locals and the PRs, because it doesn't affect them, but it affects a lot of foreigners. But all these are to tame down the market sentiment. Of course, it's not going to crash the market for sure, but it is ultimately still able to reduce the bullishness of the market. So hopefully I don't see next month, I think let's just be sure that for the month of June they will report that project sales has dropped drastically, blah blah blah, this is because of what. All this doesn't really matter. Okay, I will talk about it again. Progressive payment for these projects actually help to promote the sales because of the I would say a large reduction in the cost of this property investment, or rather some may call it investment, some may just be a pure home buying, but it is still ultimately, remember, the biggest cost of a property purchase is not in your buyer's stamp duty, which is the biggest for your upfront, but over time the one that actually hits the most, especially in this next 1 year, is actually interest rates. So most people would have, if they are looking for investment, they will be looking for these new projects because developers are the one taking the interest rates ma, and that's why they are able to sell ma. But because of this also, come on, like developers are not charitable organization. They are not going to be giving you for free. So the funny thing is that people fail to see, I feel, that developers are pushing the price. They are pushing the prices towards you. You look at those like reserve residents, how much their profit margin is really huge, eh? And people are buying it like that is the biggest deal in this year. Some may still think that it's the biggest deal. I really don't think so. If you look at it from objective point of view, sure, there are some units that were sold at 2 something. Yes, good for those people. But if you look at the facing, you look at everything else, and there were still people buying it at 2007 plus. I'm like, wow. So you're telling me that developers are absorbing the interest rate so nice for you? I honestly highly doubt so lah. This analyst of whoever is are saying buyers are highly sensitive and refrain from overextending themselves. Some yes, but I would say from what I see so far, there are some people there are quite a lot of people that went into those like reserve residences that are high PSF. I'm not saying all. Of course, as I mentioned just now, those who got in a really, really low PSF, I think they are safe. But those that are getting in, even on average, I feel is on a high already. Because after all, remember that one is a 99 year in the freehold area. How much more do you expect? But then again, I'm not going to be disputing with them because it's just a waste of my time. But there are people always still ready to jump in because of the hype, and then they realize they jump in already because they on that launch day there's so much pressure going on. My agent is telling me that I have a very good number, I should not waste it. All this kind of nonsense all start coming in. So let's just finish this one first. As we mentioned just now, there were quite a lot of units that moved in reserve residences. 2,400 plus PSF on average. Continuum at 200 plus units moved last month. We don't talk about those that already moved this month. Median price of 2007. All these are not cheap. And both these projects alone accounted for 72% of the total private home sales already. You can see a large chunk of them, and both of them are CCR. Later we'll take a look at how the CCR chart has actually moved compared to the other two other segments. And for those of you who are wondering, if you are wondering, hey, the market is gonna crash, the market is who's gonna buy all this in the future? Remember, there are almost about 50,000 citizenships and PRs being granted annually. So these people, they will form the sustainable demand of our market because they will keep coming in, and not all of them are low income lah. Let's face it lah. They are the reason why they can get citizenship. Usually, most of the time, is the income is quite decent. That's why Singapore want them. Why got so easy? Why got so easy to get citizenship? So if they have that kind of income, if they cannot qualify for BTOs, and they do not need to go for HDB resales, then, and especially for the PRs, they cannot get HDB because they haven't stayed in Singapore for long enough. What would they buy? They will end up buying the private ma. And for the buyers so far, most of them were bought by locals and also the PRs. So if we add this, 11% of May, and then 85%. If we add these two together, it's about 96.5%. That means that left these about the 3 point something percent for the foreigners. Quite a number of them probably US citizens because they don't have to pay ABSD due to the free trade agreement. But you can see over here this one plus this one, it seems that the foreigner demand has dropped drastically due to the ABSD. Sales volume should resume, which this one I agree, is almost commonsensical as I mentioned just now. If there's more project launches, then your headline is gonna look nicer. If there's lesser project launches, your headline is definitely not gonna look as nice. So July is another one we are going to be expecting very, very likely super big headlines. It's probably, I think, is gonna be topping this, because this May is like 1,000 plus units, but there are going to be a lot of launches. Don't ask me why they all want to come together, so it's gonna be quite a complicated thing, but it seems that a lot of them are going to be coming in all together in July. That's why July is going to be a smashing month. The other thing is that fixed rate loans are dropping. Quite some people are trying to refinance because obviously some of them the loan package already expired, but the interest rates are crazy. I think some are almost approaching about maybe the 5% mark, and banks are more or less pretty much forecasting that the percentage interest is likely going to come down, and that's why they're offering pretty good rates. So those of you who are wondering whether to refi, I think it's good to consult. If you need help, you can check with me on a personal basis. But I would say generally, if you are facing very high interest, you may want to consider refinancing. But also depends on the package. If you need help to find a banker, then let me know. I can link you up with some of the bankers that I work with. But I think it will be a good idea if you are considering to refinance. I think it's a good idea to go ahead with it, because I don't think interest rate is going to come down that early, that fast within the next few months. So it may be a good thing for you to refi, because if let's say your interest rate maybe is about 4.5 right now, for example, then if you are able to lock in maybe about 3.4 at this point, every month you are gaining that 1.1%. So even if it drops below 1.1% from 3.4, that means even if it drops to 2.3, which is very unlikely within the next 1 year, I really doubt so, you are able to offset. So why not just go and refinance? I think that would be a good thing to do at this point. So why am I sharing this article? Because I think it's to me such article is pretty much pointless. Don't need to think about, the market somehow is still bull because of after all this cooling measure is still bull. It doesn't matter, because this headline is largely determined by whether there's a new project coming in, and whether the project is going to be good fundamentally or not so good fundamentally. It really depends on the hype. As we've seen in one of these two already, there's a lot of hype going on and people will still chong in no matter what the price. So these kind of headlines, to me, it doesn't mean much, and it shouldn't mean too much to you. Okay, we'll talk about that again. What happens is that this is blue line is CCR, this one is RCR, and then this one is OCR. Let's take a look at the gap. Now, because of all these project launches, this is June obviously, then this is May, and because of that, now the gap between CCR and OCR has become very, very, very close due to the project being sold, and the new ones forming quite a sizable, very, very sizable volume. They will naturally pull up this chart over here for RCR, because April, if I remember correctly, was the Busu Grand, which is also RCR. Then May, the two that we talk about, and then this month not so much, so it's going to be a tame month, but people are still selling around that, buying around that price, so it's about the same. Whereas CCR is still falling. At this point, will CCR actually be a better proposition than RCR already? So, but of course, this is still on a general index. What kind of projects, whether is it fundamentally sound, you have to really deep dive in, but I'm saying this on a general basis, so don't quote me that it means that TD say must buy CCR. It really depends on what kind of project you're looking at. Okay, on the other hand, OCR has been on the slack fall, but it will revive for sure, because of the upcoming few developments that are going to be launched next month. Okay, so the other thing is that we may want to note when it comes to FOMO, because just now we're talking about FOMO, people chong it in because it's a new launch project, and then they don't want to miss out. This is one example. I think this is the third time I'm talking about 11 or Holler again, but why am I keep saying hounding about this? Because I think it's a very interesting case study on how human behavior is. I'm not trying to. Some people are trying. Oh, why is he trying so hard to flame 11 Holland? I'm not flaming 11 Holland for the sake of flaming it. Come on, for goodness sake, okay. And I'm just using it because it's the most recent example of how human behavior can be. So to me, it's just nice something that is more relevant, ma. Then some people say that you have an agenda to go and flame you or no 11 or Holland. I'm like, come on, grow up lah. But anyway, it's not in my interest to go and argue with this. I mean, if you want to think so, then you think so. I'm fine with it. I don't really care what you think. But this one is an example from if I'm not wrong, is the five of these that were previously was selling by the, what do you call that again? I think it was the developer by itself. They were trying to sell on the mortgagee sale thing, remember? There were 40 years of that, and then they were all snapped up within like the first day of official launch, all gone. And all these are not cheap units. All these are like $3-4 million kind of thing. And people are buying it as if it's $1 million kind. So previously we hear quite a lot of checks being submitted, but they couldn't get a unit, and then they were so damn disappointed. I had one teammate that had heard of a friend that put a check with another agent already, and then she was like, hey, panicking, I don't know what to do, I cannot get the unit. So I told them, but I told them, hey, you go and see, send this one, you see what she say now. She said, now she's not interested already. You see, this is what I mean. When people see that people want a certain thing, everyone wants to chiong over there. But when certain things pop out due to financial issues or whichever it is, they can say this, but who don't know what is the real reason. Maybe they feel that it's not such a great deal after all. They decide to back out, whichever it is. I don't think so many people are so dumb to jump in and then because of financial issues, can't be. I mean, if you're telling me one or two, fine, but you have 5 of them, and all these are not small quantum. Can't be somebody buy a $4 million and say that actually I don't have money. I think that is something that is a little bit too superficial to me lah. But anyway, it's not right now interest to find out all these reasons. The thing I want to highlight is that when people want a particular set of products, other people will want. So now that these things are being bounced out, people are thinking, hey, is it really not such a good deal after all? So maybe I also don't want already. But imagine at that point, that particular example, that particular buyer I was talking about, if at that particular day, on that same day, some unit bounce, she confirm will go in and buy already. Then now she look back, will she regret? Because now the thing is, now the unit is made available to her, but she is not proceeding ahead because I'm not interested already. Wait, how can it be such that within a span of 1 week, from suddenly very interested, you become not interested at all? You see, that's the herd mentality thing, which I think is very, very unhealthy. We shouldn't be thinking about, we shouldn't be adopting this kind of mentality when you're buying property. Don't buy just because people are buying. Buy because you really see the value in it. You believe that you can, if you hold long term, if you want to buy for own stay, of course you really like the place, then you'll go ahead lah. But if you are buying for investment, then buy because you really see value in it, and not because people buy, I want, then I also want. People don't want, then I also don't want. I also scared. So I think this is where the Warren Buffett thing comes into play again. I'll tell you how to get rich, closed door. Fearful when others are greedy. Be greedy when others are fearful. So now it becomes the part where others are very fearful now. Back to this article, I think they mentioned about how many that is likely being sold, or probably not in this article, but some of the articles, they were saying that likely they are projecting this year going to be selling about maybe 6,000 plus 7,000 plus units in total, compared to previous years such as like 13,000 or 12,000, or average $10,000 units a year. So naturally, compared to the past few markets, past few years, this market right now today, this year, is a lot more pessimistic. So does it mean it's a bad time to buy? Everyone knows this advice. The funny thing is that if you ask the layman on the street, a lot of them can quote you this advice by Warren Buffett. Everyone hears about this. But when the fear times comes in, people starts getting, people are not buying it, so why should I be buying? Wow, people are scared, so I should be scared also. I shouldn't move. But when people start to move already, then they, oh no, how should I move? But prices already move leh, so I should be more wary ma. So I should wait for the next thing ma. I should wait for the next one, and then when it starts to fall, why is it like this? Fall, then fall again, I fall. After that, when it start to bottom out already, and then these guys will always be sitting on the fence. They won't do anything, and they will, last time I should have done this. Last time I should have done that. It's always the same thing happening again and again. And I meet so many clients of them. They are still staying in HDB. There's nothing wrong. Absolutely nothing wrong in staying with a HDB. Please don't get me wrong. I feel it's a very good retirement plan. But I feel it's something wrong if you are very interested in personal finance. You want to build your assets, but you do not want to take the risk, and you are comfortably settling down. But the funny thing is that if you want to settle for your retirement, but there are some families that are spending a truckloads of money on not exactly very necessary expenses. It may be necessary for most of them, but I would say from an objective point of view, are certain things very necessary, and all these things such as courses, enrichment classes, all these really 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 very are these very essential, because as I mentioned in one of the comments in one of my recent videos, I had a friend, or I mean I still have the friend lah, he's quite a good friend of mine. She is quite a high flyer, it's quite very very smart, one of the smartest person that I know, very woke person, but parents dote on her a lot. Last time, I'm pretty sure now it's just that the way they show it is very different from the way she see it. So they send her a lot of enrichment classes, everything, courses, everything. Spend so much money on her, goes to some of the best schools. But guess what? Comes back, she doesn't want to see them anymore, because it's not because she's ungrateful, it's because their way of love is to tell her that, hey, you should do this, you should do that, because based on your track records, you should gonna be a doctor, lawyer, whatever it is, all the so-called more established and recognized careers. But her interest is obviously not there. So every time they meet her, they nag the hell out of her. Of course, to them it's out of love, but she don't see. So every time she can nag, it feels like they don't respect her, and because of that, the relationship is totally spoiled, gone. So is it worth it? So if you're talking about people who put a lot of money on the child, and then they expect the child to give them allowance in their late years, it's not a guarantee. No such thing as guarantee. Even if your child end up being one of the CEOs, we hear of how many cases we did. The childs are super high flying people, but they don't recognize the relationship with their parents anymore. So we don't want that. I think there's a better way of teaching the kids. I was an educator, so I've seen how things are. Very rich parents sending kids for courses, but the kids never do well. And the thing they told me is that the last thing they want is to go for course. The one thing they want is actually to have the parents recognize their true talents, because NT kids, they may not be the most blessed in terms of academic performance, but they have a lot of other talents. And some of my NT kids are some of the most talented people that I've seen, but the parents just don't recognize law. And is it their fault? It's just the way the society sees ma. So there are a lot of other things that can be a lot more important. But anyway, I'm not going to be talking about this. I think all these are oh yes, but just a disclaimer, all these are my point of view. Don't come in, TT, you don't understand. Yeah, I don't understand. Okay, I'm not here for an argument or this. Just a disclaimer. So anyway, let's move on. Anyway, as I mentioned previously, I got a property, investment property recently. And am I fearful? Maybe. But it's okay, I feel, because I recognize if I'm fearful, other people are a lot more fearful. And when I see a good deal, I will jump in and hop on without thinking too much. Yes, you may need a thing, but I need to know, at least from my point of view, my fundamental knowledge is very sound. Very, very, very sound. So I learn how to recognize opportunities when it comes. When opportunity comes, before I write the check and I throw in, am I feeling the jittery, I think definitely it's normal but I mean it's not like stocks you buy sell how many thousand times maybe you get numb, but properties there's only certain amount of times, at least in Singapore, that you can buy sell. So do you get jittery? Yes, but maybe not that it's the first time. To me, I'm a lot more calm. Do I feel a little bit of anxiousness? A little bit, but it's not as much. So it's perfectly normal. But I know what I'm doing, so I make the leap, take a leap of faith and jump in. And the best part is I don't even go for ballot day, and prices rose above ballot day, yes, but to me, I appreciate that time to think. Maybe I take about, as I mentioned, about 1 week, go back and think, and then I pull the trigger. So it's fine. I think it's better that way, because when the show flag is empty, that is when you can get a lot more clarity. I think which is very important. I would rather have more clarity than to throw in a check and then regret my options. Okay, so back to this article. Remember, don't bother about this headline. All these headlines are just facts as it is, but how you interpret them, like how I interpret this article versus most people is very, very, very different. So it really depends on every single news headline. How are you going to interpret them, and how is it going to affect you? To me, it's just, this is just a fact, that so much you need to move on. But to the average crowd, the average Joe, they're thinking, why the market so bullish? Like that, the cooling measure, all this. As long as you get, there will always be opportunities in the market. As long as you know what you're doing, then don't worry about what other people are doing. If you look at those that are the example of Florence Residence, we know it is a very profitable project. Location is in the middle of nowhere. It's right in the middle of 2 MRT, so it's not near MRT at all. Launch day only about 3% sold, but is it a bad buy? At that point, the first batch of buyers who went in and ballot, and then when they buy the unit, they see headlines come out 3%. So, can you imagine that kind of regret? Can you imagine that kind of fear that they had? But for those who took the risk and jumped in, what happened? The price actually ended up like this. So they got in like this, but a lot of people don't see the opportunity. The funny thing is, people are buying in now, sub-sale at this price, and thinking that it's a damn good deal. That's the funny thing I don't understand. Here, you feel there's a lot of fear. Here you feel it's like, wow, it's like a best deal of the year, so I should buy in, and because it's going to be done, and then the trend will keep outgoing depending on how agent sells it. But over here, this period, people are saying, I'm not getting it at the launch day price, so it's not a good deal already. Even the person that got in here is having quite a good deal because he's able to profit at this range. That's why you don't have to necessarily get in the lowest price, lowest price. Modern thing is, you know what is the value. Don't be too greedy to go for the absolute bottom and try to exit at the absolute peak. Nobody can do that. Okay, what we can do is we can enter at this range, and even enter at this range and exit at this range. I think it's fine. It's better than you try to be ambitious and then end up. I just skip first. You end up become like this Mario game. Okay, so I would say our life is a little bit like Mario, because we have a very limited time frame. We don't have 85 years to live and buy properties. We can only start buying properties from 21 years old. And how many of us have money at 21 years old? Maybe about 30 years old, you save some money. And most people nowadays, because of the YOLO lifestyle, they don't even accumulate enough at the age of 30. So maybe 35. And by the time their last move is not even 65, it's maybe about 55, because there's only so much that the bank can loan you. Up to 65 is the end of your loan tenure. It's not like you can still buy at 65 unless you got a lot of cash. So your time frame is only like this. How many steps can you make? Then imagine those people in this age, they are still like this Mario dude over here. Still thinking, cannot, so risky. Whereas there are those that are maybe like me, made a few moves already. We are still on our way to the financial freedom. I call this the financial steps to financial freedom. Make a few steps already, but at least we are on the move. Whereas today we are definitely seeing, I'm pretty sure most of us will hear of people who are retiring already. So these guys are cashing out, and that's why you hear the $1 million HDB law. Most of them, they are buying with cash. Why? Because these guys, maybe they cash out a bungalow, they don't need such a big house, they want a nice view, they want to enjoy their life, they want to enjoy the last few decades of their life, and they have more than enough money for it. For example, my last article that talk about the bungalow owners, can they cash out? Actually they can. They have, maybe bungalows are like easily $5 to $10 if they can have the 5 million, and then they want to cash out. They buy the even the most ridiculous HDB for 1.4, they still have 3.6 million. 3.6 million not enough to retire, man. I think it's more than enough. Even if you chunk it into some high yield, high dividend account, it is still gonna give you more than enough to sustain for the rest of your life, unless you're like buying every single year a Ferrari, then it's not gonna be enough. But there are people that are already cashing out. So these guys took the leap of faith, and they still have some time to enjoy their life. Whereas those that are YOLO and they always think that there's too much risk, they always be stuck. Refuse to jump over the pipe in the first place because they scared for those of you who play Mario, okay, I understand not everyone play Mario, but there's always a carnivorous plant come out. I don't know what's the name of it, but there's a stupid plant that always comes out irritating. And so everyone, naturally, this is the fear to property investment. Always, everyone have that kind of fear. It's like buying your first stock. You definitely have fear. So I'm thankful I bought my first stock very, very, very early on. Burned my hands, and because of that, I become a lot more conservative. And yep. So anyway, back to this. Okay, this is a picture that I took a few days ago when I was at Changi Airport, fetching my wife back from her trip with her parents. So when I came up from here, and then I was just trying to get past here. Of course, this is a very big, nice Iron Man figure over here. Everyone was just trying to take a picture of it, but I'm a Marvel fan, but I don't really feel the funny thing is, of course, am I tempted to take a picture of this? Yes, but the funny thing I feel is that something about me since young is that the more people want to do it, the more I don't like to do it. I don't like to be part of the crowd. So the more people that I see take picture, I'm more interested in the fact that why are people going all batshit crazy trying to, the Iron Man pose, put the hand up there. Everyone is doing the same thing. But so I decided, can I easily stand here and take a nice picture of this? Yes, but the other way, no, because I prefer to look at this picture as a whole. The interesting thing to me is that everyone is doing the same thing. Everyone is doing this and that. Is there a meaning behind it? Yes, it makes them happy, whatever it is. But for me, I like to see things from a more third party, a more objective point of view. Why are people doing all this? And do I have to join them? I find it very funny. And one in the first place, actually, to be honest, I was very irritated because I was just trying to come through here to the arrival hall, but all these people are blocking me there, so I was quite pissed off. And then I turn around and see, well, this is just the typical normal human behavior, herd mentality. Somebody want to take a picture, and then other people also want to take a picture, and I realized the good thing for me, at least the way the way I grew up, is that I don't feel the need to join the herd mentality. Okay, so I think that allows me to make very, very rational, objective decision, which I'm thankful for. And this is one of the this text actually came from one of my relatives, which is quite interesting. So she mentioned suddenly out of nowhere, we were talking about other things, then she suddenly out of nowhere, by the way, this and this, commented she cannot simply understand how me and some other cousin can make money from our condos. So she feel nobody can buy above for the premium. So how can you all possibly make money? These people are like 50 plus. There's a thing about this group of people is that if they haven't looked at property and be in the market for very, very long, they tend to be out of touch, so they feel that everything is expensive. And I will probably feel the same way next time. Today we are buying properties at, let's say, 2,000 plus PSF. I'll probably feel the same way next time when OCR hits 4,000 plus PSF, which I think let's just be honest. By the time I retire, is it totally impossible for OCR to hit $4,000 PSF? I think very, very likely ma. So are we gonna deny that? So next time when I look back, I'm definitely gonna think, hey, property is gonna be wow, so expensive. So do I dare to touch? I don't know. Maybe I don't dare to touch. But inflation would have driven up everyone's prices and also wages. So will people still be able to afford? I think very likely ma. Maybe to me I will be like them long, maybe I'll be like them, but it's okay. Because maybe, but for me, same thing, like what I mentioned, maybe I also won't be like them. Who knows? I hope I don't be like them because I don't want to be anyway. I don't have track record of following what they do. Since young, these relatives has been quite a age above older than me. They've been telling me not do things or not make this decision. But well, I kind of take pride in the fact that I tend to go the opposite way and tend to be rather successful at what I do. So well, sometimes just because somebody advise you or your friends tell you what not to do, it may not be the best thing for you. So I don't bother explaining because to me it's it's just a waste of my time and saliva. So I mean, forgive me, I'm a little crude, but I'm just the way I'm like this. So I know I know the market a lot better than they do. So sometimes I will vomit blood. Maybe not literally, maybe, but eventually when I keep doing it, maybe I'll literally vomit blood one day. So just let time run its due course lor. Rather than sitting at the side commenting here and there, unless they're trying to tell me that their children are not going to be buying properties in the future, then I will say if they really tell their children, hey, next time don't buy Singapore property at all, please don't because everything is so expensive. If they can tell me this, then I will be scared. But chances of that happening, I think is very, very, very unlikely. So, well, as I mentioned, we just let time run its due course. I'm not going to bother too much. At the end of the day, I think I really like this quote, never argue with the fool. But other people may not be able to tell the difference. So I think this is quite a nice one. Secret to happiness, not argue. So somebody disagree, yep, whatever it is, yeah, they are right lah. So pretty much this one I think is very applicable also. Last time when people talk about high park residences, today everyone is saying it was the best deal back in 2015. I can guarantee you last time 2015 everyone was saying yes, I know it sold out quite fast, but I will guarantee you quite a lot of these old time relatives, walao, why you want to buy the location? It's that 鸟不生蛋, the bird don't lay egg there, everything also not there, not here, not there. Why would you want to buy there? No good school here and there. But today we know what happened. The same thing goes for the other one, Whistler Grand, all these Panorama, all these. People last time there's no MRT, no nothing. Even till now, Whistler Grand got no MRT. You know how far it is to walk out from there, no? But a lot of people will say that, hey, the location. I know some of you keyboard warriors you want to say that, oh, now different. Last time the value here and there. Last time you got see that kind of value, man. So let's not. Yeah. I mean, let's just maintain my zen. Let's just maintain my zen. I just remember the quote. Maintain my zen. Yeah, I'm not gonna argue. I would just say most people at that point, back in 2018 when Whistler Grand was launched, a lot of people were saying the location is not that good. And then they were all against it. Same goes for Panorama. It's like, why won't you go and buy Central Residences? But why you want to go and buy Panorama, that kind of crap location? But end up today, we see a very different thing. So that's why when other people are chonging, not all of them, yes, some may be a good deal, but not all may be a good deal. The best thing, like what this guy says, close the door and find out all the relevant information and then make the right decisions. Okay? And if you need help, then don't hesitate to DM me and then I see how I can help. And then that's it. See you guys. Bye bye.